Well, hello everyone. My name's Dr. Drake 63. Thank you for joining me here on my YouTube channel. If you're a first-time visitor, I do encourage you to look at some of my other videos as well. Today I want to talk about something that's a little bit of a controversial subject, I guess, as far as controversies go within the people who talk about loads and ballistics in the firearms world. And that is the 300 blackout, 300 ACC, which you see pictured right here. This particular one is a hollow point, 120 grain, and it's supersonic. I fire this out of an 8.5-inch barrel. Today I want to talk about what my thinking is of why I chose this caliber for this particular build, and why it doesn't necessarily meet everyone's needs, but it has enough of a use that it's around and you're seeing it take off, and with good reason. So I'm going to basically compare this to a couple other popular calibers that are out there, just talking flat out ballistics. And some of them might surprise you, some of it not, but certainly I'll let you know why I chose this caliber. It's kind of a no-brainer if you're wanting to build a short barrel rifle. What we have here are 330 caliber loads. And no, you can't really take a bullet off of one and put it on the case of the other, which we'll show you in a second. But these are real popular. We all know what 7.62 by 39 was developed, or what particular use it has as a intermediate range military cartridge that is thought to best perform inside 200 yards. 30-30 Winchester, here a little bit heavier, hitting at 170 grain versus the 124 you see up top. That is also going to be best inside 200 yards, if not inside 150. And at the bottom, kind of the newcomer to the block, 300 ACC. This one's got both names for it, 300 blackout as it's also called, supersonic. And coincidentally, this particular round also, as a 30 caliber, is most effective inside 200 yards. So there's your starting point. So here they are. And you can see right away that the 30-30, obviously, in the middle there, looks a little bit different, where these guys on the left, very similar. 120 grain projectile for this guy right here, and this is 124 grain. And you can see similar case length. That's 39 millimeters, that's 35. And you can see that's very similar. And you come over here and, well, this has got a little bit different design. This had to be designed with the rim and so forth. This best scenario for working with a lever action. And so you can see there that it's a taller case. It's got a much heavier projectile at 175 grain, and basically that neck length there is to accommodate that. You come down and when you do a straight-on comparison, though, in terms of powder and so forth, yep, it's got more, but not a ton more. And again, it's firing a heavier projectile. So one would think, and one would know that, you know, say at 100 yards, this one's going to hit you with more force than these other two probably. Just because what we're talking about, before the degradation occurs of the velocity, you've still got a lot of force going on, and it's just a bigger bullet. So that's kind of that. Interesting to note, here this is a Marlin 30-30, it's called a 336. Fires the 30-30 cartridge, and this has an 18-inch barrel. This is a Franken build. It has a Radical Firearms upper and a strip lower that I assembled, so forth and so on. It shoots the 300 blackout, and this is an 8.5-inch barrel. It's got this compensator on the front, which really does a good job to prevent muzzle rise of any kind on rapid fire. So 8.5-inch barrel, 18-inch barrel. So We'll try to figure those ballistics in terms of comparisons, because those come into play too. And now here's an AK, and specifically an AKM 47 copy from Zastava. It's called an NPAP DF underfolder. This has a 16-inch barrel. That's as short as you can get it, but you can see with a folding stock, this gets pretty compact. So that's a nice feature. This gets compact too, but the good old recoil spring, unless you want to get those additional attachments that stow it off to the side and introduce some additional weak links, no thank you. But anyway, just wanted to give you a quick look at what the firearms look like that shoot these cartridges. I'm sure you guys already know that. But I'm talking about 300 Blackout today, and specifically with respect to this particular build, which is an SBR. I have paperwork. So, Mr. ATF, you feel welcome to give me a call. We keep it right here in the handle. How nifty is that? So, what's the philosophy of use here? What is it that I'm trying to do? Like a lot of guys, I got the AR building bug a few years back and enjoy building a lot of carbine length type of scenarios, 16-inch barrels. Enjoyed it for everything about the AR platform. I think it's great. There's no question about it. It's at the top of the pyramid. However, when you get into shorter barreled rifles, especially in 5.56 NATO, you lose a lot of the bullet's ballistics components. And I was looking for something specifically that was going to work well in a shorter barreled rifle. I've always been a big fan of 30 caliber, so the 300 Blackout especially seemed like a good fit. This is one of the original charts I looked at. This is about 4 or 5 years old, where I'm actually looking at what is the velocity and so forth of a 5.56 versus 300 Blackout based on barrel length. Here you see 30 Winchester ballistic information. Again, heavier bullet weights, and you're seeing that 22, 23, sometimes as high as 2,400 feet per second. So that's hitting with some force. Here we're looking at 7.62 by 39. Again, same kind of thing, 2,300 foot muzzle velocity. And here you see what happens with muzzle velocity on 300 Blackout, and I'm sitting at about 2,100 feet per second with that 8.5-inch barrel. Enjoy shooting this round immensely. I find it to be extremely accurate through this rifle, and we SBR'd this last year. Really enjoy this rifle. One of the things that's really important for me to point out here is what is the use of 300 Blackout supersonic specifically, in my opinion, because I've heard so many guys come out and basically say, well, it's not a good round, it has no use, it doesn't have a niche, what does it do that other rounds can't do? And I'm going to give a definitive answer right now. Out of a short barrel rifle, an under 10-inch barrel, you get ballistics that are not degraded, because this particular round does its business in terms of burning the powder in an 8 to 9 inch span. So you're maybe losing a couple hundred feet per second going from a 16-inch barrel down to an 8-inch barrel. Whereas if you're shooting 5.56 and you go anything below, in some cases 11, but certainly 10 inches, it really starts to degrade itself miserably, and you don't have the firepower you think you do. Looking at AKs, I know there's obviously a lot of SBRs that can be done with those. You want to ask the AK experts out there, you want to talk to the Jim Fullers of the world, he can tell you how ineffective 7.62 by 39 certainly is when you start looking at 7-8 inch barrels. So I had a particular niche desire, and that's a short-barreled type of rifle. I didn't want to get into a lot of expense. I used the same bolt group that I would with 5.56, the same magazines, everything. The only thing that's different is the barrel itself, so you can switch uppers and make this, for example, a 14.5-inch SBR in 5.56 or whatever caliber. But what's interesting to note is you're not looking to replace the 5.56 with a 300 Blackout. What you're basically doing is you're realistically assessing what modern warfare is about. And we're talking about engagements typically 100 yards. And that being the case, weapons like these come in quite handy. The subsonic version with silencers, it's an option. I could also get a stamp and do that, which I might someday. But keep it in mind, now you've got a souped up maybe 10 millimeter pistol that fires quicker and so forth. So there's a lot of different theories out there. But to just come out and say, you know, 300 blackout is not a good round because it doesn't do everything that a 5.56 does, or 30-30, whatever round you want to pick. Well, that's okay. Here's a 5.56, and I'll tell you what this can't do. This can't perform out of a short barrel worth a darn. And that's just reality. Go look up the ballistics tables and you'll see. I'm not here to push this round or anything else, but I am a big fan of 30 caliber. You get a particular ballistics coefficient, cross-sectional thing that happens, which is also positive. Drawbacks, it's an expensive round to shoot. If you're a reloader, hats off to you. It's an expensive round to shoot. If you're a guy that wants to shoot 400, 500 rounds when you go to the range through your AR or through your AK or whatever, probably don't want to shoot 300 blackout because you're looking anywhere between 60 and 75 cents a round. So I'd like to also point out that these rounds are very good hunting rounds, and I've seen great reviews on this, which is this particular Remington, believe it or not, is a Barnes case that has a Barnes bullet. It's a hollow point. My understanding, these were purchased back from the FBI, Department of Homeland Security, as they were looking for a different type of bullet for 300 blackout. I don't know if that's true or not, but I can tell you that this ammo behaves great. Again, accurate as all get out. I've never seen any kind of deviation. Part of that, shout out Radical Firearms, guys. If anybody happens to be in the market to build, I'd highly recommend this type of upper for you, and I'm sure there's other good ones as well. Anyway, that's my take on things based on my philosophy. I'm not here to tell you that this, again, should replace 5.56. I don't think it can. I don't view this as a viable 300, 400 meter, yard, whatever type of caliber, whereas, you know, certainly there's others that are, and 5.45, 5.56 NATO, 308, of course, and others that you see out there. So appreciate your time today. Certainly interested in your comments. I'd encourage anybody that's looking for a versatile AR build to consider 300 blackout and give it a try, knowing that you don't need 16 inches of barrel, you don't need 20 inches of barrel, but if you want to shoot it as a short barrel, as a true SBR, not with a plastic brace on it, it's going to cost you about 8 months or so wait time and a couple $100 for a tax stamp. So you can decide whether or not you want to give Uncle Sam more money or not. In the meantime, I hope you enjoy shooting. I want to encourage everyone here to please, if you have not already done so, join the NRA. And if you have, consider doing what I did recently and extend your membership. They're the only ones that have any kind of pull that are fighting for our rights. They're being demonized. I see this the future being very, very dim without a strong NRA. So please, if you care about your Second Amendment rights, do support the NRA. This is Dr. Drake again. Appreciate you watching and have a great day. Happy shooting.